You are now listening to the A Dose of Disruption podcast, powered by Experian. Weekly compelling conversations on making money moves and growing your network. The place where you can learn to be you and do you all at the same time. I'm your host, Shelly Bell, and now, let's see what this week's Level Up looks like. All right, welcome to A Dose of Disruption podcast, and today, y'all, we're going to switch it up a little bit, all right? We're doing a segment called Shelly Fix My Pitch, which will probably evolve into multiple names over the course of the life cycle of this idea, but we are going to be doing something a little different than an interview. Today, we're going to have a founder pitch her business, and then I'm going to give her live feedback to help you out there, just kind of one, learn about a new founder and a new product. Two, also go and buy this new product and support this new founder. Three, to actually just hear real-time feedback on really some of the conversations that we probably would have intimately before you even see people go live to pitch. Today, our guest founder is Shantaquilette Carter, the founder of GirlBNatural. They have some amazing products, but I don't want to tell you too much about it because I want to get into this pitch. All right, Shantaquilette, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Thank you so much, Shelly, for inviting me on and to participate in this amazing episode. I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback.
All right. So, because this is kind of like behind the scenes kind of look at it, what I want to do is to just ask you first, what are your goals? Because I think sometimes when I'm coaching founders, if the goal is to get funding, is the goal to get more customers, is the goal to get investment dollars. So funding and from an investment standpoint, is the goal to get feedback on, listening so you can figure out how to scale. A lot of times, when people are pitching, they're pitching for capital because they're in a pitch competition. But you could be pitching with different goals in mind, and sometimes that can interrupt you from quote unquote winning the competition because you're pitching with you really just want to scale in mind and they're looking for your money more, like to hear more about the money or to hear more about certain products. So tell me, what is your goal for today or for this pitch? Like when you created this pitch, did you have a goal? Maybe not. But then what tell me a little bit about your goals. Where are you headed?
So it definitely is scalability. I am, looking to gain more customers, bring more brand awareness to GirlBNatural. That's really important to me because, as we know, marketing is a huge, huge part of getting to your customers. And in order to have a huge marketing budget, you need dollars. So I would say it is scalability and funding. I've been looking for, a lot of no equity funding at this time because I would like to, bootstrap as long as I can. But if the opportunity is available and it sounds good, then investments, I am open to investments.
All right, sounds good. So I heard funding, scalability, brand awareness. All right, got it. All right, 3 minutes on the clock. And here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, pitch.
Hey, my name is Shantaquilette Carter, and I am the co-founder and CEO of GirlBNatural. I am a social entrepreneur and the brainchild behind this amazing brand. Did you know over 90% of personal care products have toxic ingredients, and on an average, women use 12 products a day, which contain 168 chemicals? Let that sink in. After a stroke and a heart attack in 2019, I was shifted into perimenopause, and I had some outrageous symptoms. I searched for products on the market, and I couldn't find anything that served my demographic. During the process, I learned that there are 15 ingredients linked to early stage menopause and other illnesses. Unfortunately, lack of education will keep women exposed. I became a certified herbalist and started mitigating my symptoms. I found that there is a meager existence of healthy personal care products addressing the external pains of women. Issues include menstruation, menopause, and pregnancy. And 85% of women have a fluctuation in hormones due to underlying health issues like cancer. And another 50% of women have some degree of sensitive skin, while 30% is from underlying health issues, chemo, and radiation. With the help of my father, with over 40 years in product development, I created a patent-pending, multifaceted, whole-body deodorant called Sweet Pits. Our innovative formula utilizes plant botanicals with effective odor removal and support for sensitive skin. Some of our amazing ingredients are aloe for soothing inflamed skin and anti-chafing, sea salt for odor reduction, and phytoside elderberry to boost the immune system, and chamomile to combat stress. We have 5 amazing products in our portfolio. Here are some of our amazing products. We have a multi-pronged business approach which includes direct-to-consumer via online, wholesale direct-consumer, and distribution networks. Some of our wholesale partners are Fair, and we are actually in 3 retailers at this current time. The market right now is at, in 2019 for the natural cosmetics is at $36 billion, and by 2027 it will be at $54 billion. Feminine hair care hygiene is at $6.6 billion right now, and is looking to scale at $9.5 billion in the next 5 years. Here are some of our potential competitors. We're unique because, unlike our competitors, we are educating, creating an experience, community, and enhancing the quality of life for women. Some of our traction: 25K to date in the last year, 102. I have 102,000 TikTok followers, and that holds about 30% of our sales. We've been featured in Forbes, Good Morning Texas, Shout Out DFW, and Beauty Independent. Our marketing strategy is virtual trade shows, social media marketing, and working with micro-influencers on social media. Here's our dedicated team, which includes my daughter, who's a web designer. She has over 6 years experience in brand strategy. My dad, who's a super dad, who actually has 40 years in manufacturing product development and is also a chemical compounder. And our head of strategy and tech, Mala. We're seeking $200,000 to increase production and inventory, scale our business, expand clinical and dermatological testing, and invest in
time. Yeah, so you were almost there, and I let you go a little bit longer because I was like, okay, maybe she's almost done. So, okay, great job. All right, we'll give you a little air horn there. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so establishing credibility, like in the first part of your pitch. And I would say this to people who are internal pitching a corporate idea that you want your boss to adapt, or you want your department to adapt, all the way to pitching to investors. You want to make sure that you are establishing the problem big. I mean big, okay? You want to establish a problem to be so big that you have so much money, like so much potential place to make money, right? And then you want to establish like credibility to be so hardcore that it is a no-brainer as to like why you would do this thing with the team that you have put in place. So I want to talk about the problem. You use the word meager, and I was like, I don't know what meager means. I also think that, so meager versus, No, I know what meager means, girl. What I mean is like, meager does not quantify deeply for me in a way that gives me a stark, like jarring stat, right? So if I say, the average net worth of a white family in Boston is $240,000. The average net worth of a Black family in Boston is $8. Like hear the difference in that? So this group of people over here is $240,000 net worth, and Black people have $8. Like that's nowhere near each other. So if you gave me a stat, you don't have to give me as much or as many. You could give me something that's big. So if you said like, there are 50 million women in the world, and 90% of them have a menstrual cycle, and the products that are currently on the market, like the most popular products, use, rubber, I don't know. I'm just making up stuff. Rat poisoning. I don't know. To create, to create the products that we use, that now I'm like, oh shoot, rat poisoning. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, so like, give me something that, kind of like pokes at me immediately so that I'm like, oh my gosh, what is she creating? What's her solution? Cause we need it right now. Like, unfortunately, moving an investor is a lot like moving our federal government. There has to be complete devastation in the way that we view it. Or there has to be a complete emergency to move funders. And then it has to be so clear why you're the solution. That's like, hey, there are a million places that need doors. While they have doors, they don't have doorknobs. Boom, I'm the doorknob creator. Here I am with the fantastic doorknob, right? I love that. So credibility pieces, I think you mentioned you're an herbalist. Your dad also has some deep expertise in chemicals. You didn't have an image of your dad on your slides, and I wondered why.
Because he didn't have any up-to-date pictures that he wanted to use. Most of his pictures are non-professional, and like the last professional picture that he took was group. It's always like a group photo. So we probably could maybe edit his head and put his head in there.
Or just go take your iPhone, if you have one, go put him up against a white background. He don't have to be dressed up, and just take a picture. Like, go, hey dad, throw on this jacket, stand up against this wall. Let me snap this picture of you. Or don't use pictures at all and use something else. Either just use some type of little avatars, use iPhone emojis. You know what I mean? Like, get creative. You can get creative with it, but it was so stark, like looking at everybody else's picture, and then you had this like super dad icon for him. It was like, what? It almost throws off how nice your slides look. And for those of you who want to take a look at the slides, we'll have the full episode on youtube.com/I am Shelly Bell. You can go check it out. Another thing that you had was, I love that you had the TikTok, because I think it speaks to Gen Z. So, and that is a market. And you didn't really mention who your target. So who is your target audience?
So we have several groups. So we have our sexual wellness group, which is 21 and over. Then we have what we call is our femtech group, where are the women who have the perimenopause, postpartum, estrogen areas. And then we have our older women, who are our silver, 55 and plus, who actually are in menopause, that all can use our products. So we have
Okay. So how long have you been in business?
A year.
Okay. So how many customers have you had?
About 225 right now.
So cause I didn't see any money. Where was the money in the pitch?
I think I said 25,000 to date.
25,000 today, a year in business. What's your best selling product?
Our feminine wash and our Sweet Bee feminine wash and our Sweet Pits deodorant.
Okay. So you said, here are some of our products. And I was like, okay. Another time you said, here's our team. And then you started talking about it. When it comes to your products, what I want you to be constantly speaking to, just in general, Ashley, is your competitive advantage. You said, here's some of our competitors. Like, saying here is, or just presenting, doesn't speak to what you know about your unique vantage point. Right? So I think, like, you want to go, taking it back to the beginning, you had a lot of words on that one slide with the stats on it. We could do with less words on that one slide. Like, you had a paragraph over to the right, then you had like a list of stats with like paragraphs underneath them. You don't want me reading. As an investor, you want me listening to you and like high level getting the points. You don't want me sitting there trying to read every word on the slide. And when you say here is, that means you are relying on slides, and you also don't ever want to rely on slides. So when you say, here's our product, that means like if that wasn't there, what would you say? If the tech broke down in the middle of the pitch competition, what would you say? If you don't have that slide, because anything goes wrong, or the investor looks away for a moment, or is looking down writing notes, and then you're like, here's our product, and you go to the next slide, and I'm having to hurry up and look. Like, you don't want to rely on the slides that heavy. The slides are a compliment to your voice, right? Your voice is the thing that they're hearing, your story. The one thing that I really wanted was like, why you? I think you have a deeper story there. Like, why you for this? Anybody can do that. Any herbalist out there can say, I'm going to create all body deodorant. Okay, got it. But why you? Why did you do this?
Because do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, I want you to tell me.
Because I had a personal need. So I was servicing a personal need for myself. And then after hearing the stories of many women, especially the ones that I serve on my nonprofit side, about the debilitating issues and not being able to find inclusive products. When I started using a product and I found something that mitigated my symptoms and I didn't have to go to the doctor, I knew that I was on to something. And so the population.
Well, what was your personal need? Do you want to talk about it?
Oh, my personal need is, yes, absolutely. So I started having these really debilitating side effects. When I had my stroke, it actually shifted me into perimenopause. And so I was not someone who actually had to deal with body odor, vaginal dryness, any of those issues. And I couldn't find anything on the market to eliminate those things, especially trying to buy a whole bunch of products and spend a whole bunch of money on multiple products. So I got certified as a herbalist and a life coach. I was really stressed at that time. Life was all over the place, especially, trying to get back some of the things that I took for granted in life, mobility and all these things. So I was like, hey, I got to get myself together, started researching these different ingredients, and found that, herbs and plant botanicals could do the same thing of most medications, because that's the thing I didn't want to do. I was already on enough medications. I didn't want to be on any more. Started talking to my dad about these different ingredients. I started using them, and it's mitigated it and removed those different things. Did
you test on anyone that wasn't you before launching?
Yes, actually I did. So I did a Galentine's night with my girlfriends, and I brought them all little bags. I told them that we were going to all exchange gifts. And so I gave that out to 15 of my friends. One of my friends, she actually has a thyroid disease that actually causes extreme sweating and odor. And so she was one of the first ones to actually tell me that she loved the product, especially because the product was natural, and that she didn't get the gooky residue that she got from one of my competitors. And so she used it. And then I had other few girlfriends reach out to me and tell me what they liked and what they didn't like. What they didn't like, I fixed. And then I sent it out again. I sent it out.
So here's, okay. And this is the part I feel like maybe missing from the pitch.
Yeah.
Because you didn't just this is great. So there was a problem. I came up with a thing. I'm an herbalist, and so I kind of know how these things work. So now I know that these things solve this. So I put it all together in my kitchen, and then bam, I just put in, and my dad knows how to do scaling. He knows how to do product. He knows how to do chemistry. Like, since my dad know how to do chemistry, and then I kind of knew all these products, because I'm no. What I just heard you say was, and I'm making up the dates and some of the numbers, right? But I'm going to give you the flow of this. In 2009, I experienced a stroke. As a result of experiencing that stroke, my ongoing symptoms became, or ongoing, I don't know what the word is, not symptoms, but, there's a word for it. Results. Following this incident, I was experiencing I'm making this up, body odor, this, and this. So I decided to research, become an herbalist to solve this problem. Not only, then I found, then I decided to pilot what this would look like for other women. So I gathered a focus group on Valentine's Day of 20 women that I gave the product to. But I found, you can also put this in numbers. Like, I experienced a stroke. Following the stroke, ongoing, my body had changed. Like, or you could say things like, there are several different incidents over the course of your life that cause your body to literally shift in its makeup. Pregnancy, stroke, it could be other levels of things, right? Thyroid disease. There's, you could find numbers on this too. There are 50 diseases affecting 90% of Americans that cause them to experience the symptoms that your product solves, and you can list them. Right? See, those numbers sound different when you say there are 50 diseases affecting 90% of Americans that cause these 5 symptoms that my product alleviates. Right? And then firsthand because you actually experienced it. So you could start either way. You could start with, after experiencing a stroke, I was experiencing these five results. My body you could say after experiencing a stroke, my body literally shifted in its makeup and the way it operates, resulting in me having ongoing, I can't think of the word, not symptoms, but ongoing I can't say it again. Ongoing side effects, including these 5 things. After doing research and becoming an herbalist to try to solve these things for myself, I found that the 90% of Americans have experienced these 50, diseases, and now are also resulting in these 5 things. I pulled a focus group together of 20 women as a Valentine's Day event and gifted them the product, tested it, and received the information, and received feedback, tweaked the product, and there was born GirlBNatural. A blah, 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 natural blah for blah, blah, blah. To date, I launched girl, to date, you don't even have to have the necessarily, you could say, in a year, or like, we just completed everything is an opportunity, and everything is a we learned, right? So it's like, after completing our first year of sales, we noticed that, we earned X amount of revenue after completing our first year of sales with X amount of customers. Our biggest sales channels are TikTok, our website, and Instagram. We see an opportunity where, I bootstrapped the capital to create this first 25K of sales. And based on our current track record, we are on task to double that by blah percent. Our margins are 50%, or 70%. And when it comes to competitors, when it comes to our competitors, we stand out because of our blah and blah. Right? Cause you want to show that, and all the time you're clicking through slides showing numbers, right? Like all the time you're clicking through slides, and the slides have in pictures of people experiencing something, and then pictures of the product, or pictures, and then you can say things like the ingredients include blah to address blah, blah, and blah, blah to address blah, X to address blah. The collection of ingredients include chamomile, lavender, I'm making up something, turmeric, because these things address, and you stay with those 5 symptoms that you talked about, right? Cause this is the thread. The thread is 5, I'm making up 5, but 5 symptoms that 90% of Americans experiencing 50% of these diseases are totally experiencing. Then you could say, here is the medical problem. Here's the the beauty market in open. Cause you talked about like the beauty market, the natural market. That's great. But then you are carving out how much percent of that. Cause that's what I was looking for too. People all the time tell us like, oh, the beauty market is $50 billion. Like, it doesn't really matter if it's wait, let me take that back. It matters that it's $50 billion, but at the same time, so what if you can't carve out 5 people within that $50 billion amount, right? So it's like, no, we see ourselves being able to carve out, 15% of the market by doing X, Y, and Z efforts. Right. And then you want to have I would have a final kind of tagline that's like, help us.
I have one that I actually, by investing in us, you're saying all women's health matters. The future of female is GirlBNatural.
No. That's so anticlimactic. Like, I just gave you this hype story about like, I had a stroke. I became an herbalist. You know what I mean? Like, I started, I made people smell better, feel better, look better, skin better, and then like, here's why we need it. We got all these Americans experiencing it. Here's the part of the market I'm going to blow out of the water. You want to end with something like, just because a disease shifts your body does not mean you have to shift and smell. I don't know. Or like, just because you would make up something like, come on, you a TikToker. I don't know, makeup. You know how to make up. You know how to make up stuff. So come up with some like really clear, funky tagline that says something like, when disease hits you hard. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answer right now.
Just because a stroke killed me doesn't mean your odor has to.
Oh. Look. Mic drop. You know what I'm saying? Like, surviving a stroke doesn't mean you have to kill people with your odor. I don't know. You might not want to say it like that because that's a little rude because, people get sensitive about. But you got what I'm saying? You just want to say something that's like, bam, and then leave it to the panel to ask questions. Because there's some things that like, you don't have to say it all. We're going to ask questions. We're going to ask like, what about this? What about that? And any financial, I tell people this all the time. Anything financial you put on a screen, we are reading it because that's really what we want to know. Okay, this is great. You had a stroke and now you created this thing. That tells me your loyalty to the creating the thing. So the reason for a story in a pitch, it's not just because like we like to be entertained. I mean, granted, we do as investors like to be entertained like anybody else, but we also want to know that you're going to stick with it. It also kind of can speak to whether or not you will let it go. So like, when it's time to sell, will you sell it? And time to sell, meaning like, if it came down to it and tomorrow, Johnson & Johnson said, oh, we like GirlBNatural, we want to buy that. Would you let it go? Or would you be like, nah, cause me and my dad built this and I remember that time when I had a stroke and I'm never letting it go. Like some people are like that.
No, we are prepared for acquisition.
And you can say that. You can say, that you are preparing to grow something that's really impactful and can be acquired. You throw that in there, we like, perk up. Like, wait a minute, let me see what she got here. Because people that want to sell, that means you're going to make your investors money.
I did have something in my notes that I didn't actually put here, but I did mention that, our biggest competitor and where a lot of our customers come from, they had a very noteworthy acquisition of over $100 million. So we know that we have the possibility to do the same, especially that we provide more products than they do as well. But I would say on average, out of the 225 customers we have, I'd say about 35% come over from that brand. and we actually have, I'm actually in an incubator with Visa, and the CIO there is a male. He's my mentor, and he actually is using our products, which is Sweet V. It's a product, and it's called Sweet V, and he is bathing with it. And he just recently said that he would love to see this product um, in a male form. So, we have, feminine hygiene, we would have masculine hygiene. So he really, really likes the products.
I mean, this is the thing where it's like strong enough for a man, made for a woman, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, figuring out your version of that tagline could be interesting too. Like, because you could also just call it Be Natural. Or, or think about like whether or not that makes sense. It's up to you. Like, I won't press that pivot because, you want to, if women is your market and women is your market, but especially because of, pregnancy and that kind of thing. So, that could be interesting. Another thing is like, I saw your, like one of the sales channels you mentioned being in a store, I think already. I did wonder, have you thought of any other partnerships? Like, are you thinking about like bigger partnerships with, stores, brands, doctors' offices, medical practices or health systems or hotels or, I was like, are you looking into other ways to partner?
Yeah. So I've been definitely, signing up every time I get a chance with Targets accelerators. Actually trying to build relationships with doctors' offices and hospitals. So I'm actually working with a Connect in New Jersey who actually has a relationship with the hospital, because we do have our no rinse body foam that actually is really for those who are bedridden or actually don't have access to a bath or can't actually maybe have wounds and things like that where they can't actually be submerged in water. So we are looking to get those products in hospitals. So yeah, hospitals, clinics. Really been working on. I'm on a online trade show, so there's small nutrition stores that have actually been reaching out. Um, Looking to get some OBGYN spokespersons to even for our breast butter and things like that. So we really want to expand the brand, not only hormones affect your externally, it actually affects you. Well, it affects you internally. It also affects you externally. So you're that. So we want to expand our product line outside of feminine hygiene as well. So we're looking at this huge brand that caters to this woman who actually is having problems through all stages of their life, from the time they start menstruating to the time they stop menstruating.
Yeah. So $25,000 is not necessarily a lot of money, but like for your first year, it's highly likely it's great for your first year because it's highly likely that you were just learning a lot. Right? Like learning like how to price your packaging, learning what's the best shipping, learning what's the best like delivery in general. Like what are your margins? Because you didn't mention that either.
So the margins right now are at 85%. So we are built to scale. Um, but the biggest thing is I think the biggest component with us is that during that year, there was several breaks because of my own health and therapy, and then also not just me actually selling the product, me going on TikTok, me telling my friends about it and doing lives and things like that. So I know with the right marketing budget, our scalability would skyrocket. I do every now and then I test through Instagram sponsorship and Facebook sponsorship, and we typically break even on that. So I know with a larger budget we would do more. So our budget is really modest right now. So that is why we are trying to do a lot of grant pitchings and things like that to get the money so we can actually put in our marketing budget.
I think, okay, so yes, but what's hard there for me as an investor is that you need a team So yes, you need marketing efforts, but like you need to figure out who your first key hire is. Because if it's you doing a lot of stuff by yourself, it's great. It's just not sustainable. So, I mean, yes to all the things you mentioned, but I also think, you don't want to say grow a team. Like sometimes just saying like, oh, I want to because I want to grow a team. That's actually maybe not as productive as people think. Sometimes it's better to say like, I'm going to make my next key hire, and that's a COO, which I believe would, and I'm just making it up if that's your key hire, and which I believe,
the CFO. So those are the two I have.
Which I believe would really allow us to take our business to the next level. So if you're asked that, try not to say it's just me. Okay. All right, cool. Because you said when you talked to just now when you talk about scaling, you said was you kind of doing the things. So I wonder.
Doing the marketing. I do have tech. I have someone who is building out my e-commerce, digital marketer, graphic designs. But as far as me this last year, we'll say the last 7 months, well, the first 7 months, it was me getting on TikTok and really talking about the product until I actually get the capital to actually put towards marketing, which we've been testing out here every so often. But I know with just even learning with Visa that they have a huge marketing budget, and it's like 70% of their budget is marketing. So
That's right.
Where that is, and so I do believe having a COO or a CMO come in would be a great asset to us.
Okay.
Find that right key person.
Okay. I think you're onto something though. And I think you should stick with it. And I think you should figure out what makes the most sense to make this thing scale or sell. And I hear you saying you're open to selling, which I love because sometimes founders just completely negate that. But being open to so one of the things that is interesting for people to know is like scaling, because like I was talking to an investor about this. Like 1 minute you'll hear people say like, oh, that's not a venture backable company, like a restaurant for example. Oh, that's not a venture backable company, right? Like that doesn't, they probably should get loans or family capital or something, because that's not a, but then you'll like hear on the news a week later that investors funded this restaurant. Now they're opening up 15 chains across the, and you're like, but I thought restaurants weren't a venture backable business. And it's because the scalable part is the process by which you deliver, not necessarily the products. So your process has to be scalable. So that means looking at your overhead, figuring out how you can cut costs while still maintaining big, right? If you, maybe it's consultants, maybe you're hiring consultants. Like maybe you're not hiring just straight up a full-time team member or part-time team member, right? So thinking about how you activate and implement people, and then how you activate and implement people in a process. And typically the process comes first. So process could be you figured a way to make the products faster, or you figured a way to automate the need and the delivery of the product such that like the need navigates people to a product specifically. And now you can stuff multiple entities on either end, multiple products, or you can stuff multiple people. Because the goal is like to keep overhead low and to be able to scale. I mean, like scale meaning acquire more customers, more people coming to you at once. If today you got 1,000 orders every day this week, would you be ready for that? Like getting ready to compete. All right. Questions, thoughts before we wrap up?
So I do actually. I've been looking at third party. So I have a manufacturer.
Okay.
That's already set, and then a third party shipper. So I've actually looked into that to alleviate the process, because most of the shipping and the manufacturing is in house right now, and was looking to actually kind of expand and hire more, people in underserved communities. But until then, until that happens, I've looked at the other side of that is being able to release the the duties of the manufacturing and the logistics and all that to myself and my husband, who does all the logistics, to someone on the outside who can just keep it turning.
Okay. So, okay. Like I said, I'll work on the story, the numbers, including that bigger vision. And like I said, we want to know, what is it? Why is it? Why you for it? How do we make money with you? Not off of you, but how do we make money with you? So an infusion of capital today, what would you do with it to make more money? So that way, that's a real question. If you got an infusion of capital, how much money do you need?
200,000. I didn't get to that. 200,000, which would be, I wrote it down here. So it would be 35% to hiring, 10% to e-commerce, 40% to marketing. Then there would be another 10% to clinical and dermatological testing. And I know I'm missing something, but that's the breakdown.
Okay. That sounds pretty good. Which one of those pumps out the money?
I believe the hiring. I think if I could hire, if I could hire a COO and someone in sales.
So I like the idea of hiring sales. I like that. Yes. So yes to hiring sales. Now we're talking about what potentially might bring the money. I mean, sometimes like hiring sounds good because it can free you up to maybe do more. And then sometimes it's not good because it's like if you never hired before, you don't know if you're gonna make the right decision for the hire. So you gotta have, like, you have growing pains. I tell people, like, investors want to fund you to grow, not to go. So if you're in the mode or in the arena of your business where you're going, right? Because you're just figuring it out, you're putting things together. So a lot of times people may, or not a lot of times, but some investors will say like, "Oh, you're too early," and then founders get really, really offended by that. And it's like, you're not too early in terms of just like rocking and rolling with the business, but you're too early for me to give you $50,000 and you just go hire a person. Like that'd be great, but it got to be more strategic than that. So you're going to hire a person that can do blah, because blah will open up X amount of things in order for you to be able to make money. Right? Like looking at your pain points and being like, ooh, I could loosen up this pipeline and make things flow smoother if I had this person here doing this. And that's how you kind of evaluate the need for more and more employees. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I know sales would actually drive, because we've actually had somebody constantly pitching to, distributors, to hospitals. That will drive more partnerships, will drive more revenue. So
yes. Okay. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. Was this helpful?
yes, it was very helpful. It's very helpful. It's always helpful when I'm talking to you, Shelly. You're my Brody.
Well, I'm glad I can help. You know what? Let's get this money, all right?
Where it reside.
Hey, okay. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us, Disruptors, and congratulations. You have taken another step toward being friggin' amazing. Make sure you visit us at adoseofdisruption.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or via RSS feed. Rate and subscribe if you're all the way live. Rate and subscribe if you're all the way live. That's right. Tell a friend, rate and subscribe to keep us all the way live. Come back next week so we can disrupt some more shit.